Have you ever wondered why Anubis, the god of death in ancient Egypt, is depicted as a man with a jackal's head? Why was he responsible for guiding souls to the afterlife? And why was mummification such an important practice in ancient Egyptian culture? In this video, we will delve into the mythology of ancient Egypt and explore the fascinating history of Anubis, the god of death. We'll uncover the reasons why ancient Egyptians revered and worshipped him, and how he compares to other cultures and religions' versions of the afterlife. So stick around until the end to discover the story of Anubis, the conductor of souls, and the first lord of the underworld. The ancient Egyptians believed that preserving the body was crucial for the soul's successful journey to the afterlife. They developed a complex system of mummification, which involved removing the internal organs and packing the body with natron, a type of salt, to dry it out. The body was then wrapped in linen and placed in a coffin before being buried in a tomb. In addition to mummification, the ancient Egyptians also believed that the soul needed material possessions in the afterlife. They filled the tombs of the wealthy with food, jewelry, furniture, and other items that the soul would need in the field of reeds. The ancient Egyptians also believed that the soul needed to be prepared for the afterlife through a series of rituals. Priests performed these rituals, which involved reciting spells, offering sacrifices, and conducting ceremonies to ensure that the soul was ready for its journey. The ancient Egyptians' investment in the preservation of the dead can be attributed to their belief in the afterlife and the importance of the soul's successful journey to the field of reeds. They also believed that the dead needed to be honored and respected, and that their physical bodies and material possessions were necessary for their soul's well-being in the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians' emphasis on death and the afterlife has a lasting impact on their culture and continues to fascinate people around the world today. The field of reeds was a paradise reserved for those who were righteous and virtuous, similar to the concept of heaven in Judeo-Christian beliefs. To enter this utopia, souls first had to journey from their tombs into the afterlife. While most souls made the perilous trek on foot, some kings and pharaohs arrived on boats that were designed to resemble Ra, the sun god, who sailed into the underworld with every sunset. Once all the souls had gathered in the Hall of Truth, they faced judgment by the god of death, who ruled over the underworld. Each soul, regardless of social status, had their heart weighed against a feather of truth on a golden scale. If their heart was heavier than the feather, it was thrown to the ground and consumed by a crocodile-headed god, causing the soul to cease to exist. However, if the soul's heart was lighter than the feather, the god of death consulted with his council of judges. If they deemed the soul to be honest and good, the lord of the underworld welcomed them into the field of reeds, where they would reside for eternity and thrive in peace and prosperity. The god of death played a crucial role in ancient Egyptian beliefs about immortality as the guardian of the field of reeds and lord of the underworld. Among the many deities in the Egyptian pantheon, few were as powerful or popular as the god of death. But who exactly was the god of death, and where did he come from? From the beginning of the first dynasty to the end of the New Kingdom, ancient Egyptians constructed elaborate tombs to honor and protect their deceased loved ones. For the ancient Egyptians, the desecration of a body was considered worse than death itself. If the body was destroyed, the soul would be denied access to the afterlife and the field of reeds. Unfortunately, many burial sites were plundered by grave robbers, especially those belonging to wealthy and influential individuals. Kings and queens were often buried with treasures from their lives that would help them on their journey to the underworld. However, the valuable possessions within these tombs also attracted unwanted attention. As early as 2600 BCE, ancient Egyptians began carving images of black jackals into tomb walls to scare away grave robbers. These menacing animals can be found in pre-dynastic mud brick tombs, towering pyramids, and golden sarcophagi. But why did the ancient Egyptians associate these creatures with death and the afterlife? Jackals, or wild dogs, were known to roam the Nile Delta and were notorious for digging up bodies and disrupting ancient burial sites. To prevent these scavengers from disrupting their deceased loved ones, the ancient Egyptians made offering to a jackal-headed god of death named Anubis, or Anpu in ancient Egyptian. His influence quickly spread throughout the ancient world and became one of the most revered and recognizable gods of death in all of Egypt. Anubis was worshipped in ancient Egypt for hundreds of years and was considered an immortal judge who presided over the afterlife. He was also revered as a guardian of cemeteries. However, towards the end of the Old Kingdom, Anubis went through a significant transformation, which started with the discovery of mummification. This led to Anubis becoming the god of the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians are most well known around the world today for two things: the pyramids of Giza and the mummies that were discovered inside of them. The ancient Egyptians had a deep respect for the dead, as evidenced by their practice of embalming dead bodies with great care to preserve them and prevent damage and decay. The process of mummification was held in high regard as a divinely bestowed privilege. Myth has it that Anubis came up with the idea to keep the body of a god king named Osiris preserved for eternity. Osiris was slain by the jealous god Seth, lord of war, storms, and chaos. According to one of the most well-known myths that originated from ancient Egypt, Osiris was duped into having an affair with the goddess Nephthys, who was married to Seth, and their union resulted in the birth of a child. After Seth learned about the affair, the Lord of War erupted into a fit of rage. He then placed Osiris's body parts inside a box, sealed the box, and threw the box and its contents into the Nile River. Isis, who was married to Osiris, was the one who discovered his remains. She was desperate to bring back to life her husband. So, she took Osiris's remains to Anubis, who was the god pharaoh. Anubis then brought Osiris back to life. After being resurrected and granted newfound power, Osiris descended into the underworld, where he eventually assumed the roles of god, king, and judge over the afterlife. Osiris succeeded Anubis as the god of the afterlife in ancient Egyptian religion over the course of time. Although Anubis, the jackal god, was removed from his position as the unrivaled ruler of the underworld, he continued to be revered as a significant deity in ancient Egyptian religion. Anubis was Osiris's right-hand man and was responsible for directing the afterlife's activities as the conductor of souls. Anubis was the god who looked after souls after they awoke in their tombs and read the hieroglyphics that were carved into the walls. He was the one who led them into the afterlife and the sunset. Anubis was the one who led each soul into the Hall of Truth, so that a golden scale could measure the weight of each person's heart. Anubis was once worshipped as the god of death, but he is now known as the conductor of souls. He was a leader, an artist, and a caregiver. How does the Egyptian god Anubis compare to other cultures' religions' versions of the afterlife? In Greek mythology, the exiled son of Kronos was responsible for the punishment of wicked people in a gloomy realm that was inhabited by monsters and phantoms. According to the teachings of Judeo-Christian scriptures, the devil and his minions ruled over a fiery wasteland that served as a place of eternal torment for wicked souls. On the other hand, Anubis did not subject the souls of the departed to any form of torment or punishment. The afterlife was not a place of torment and suffering, nor was it a hellish wasteland filled with fire and brimstone. The rich mythology of ancient Egypt reveals above all else justice, preservation, and respect for the dead, even though ancient Egyptian folklore is filled with tales of vengeance and ferocity. No other god so perfectly encapsulates those principles as Anubis, the god with the jackal's head, who is known as the conductor of souls and the first lord of the underworld. And there you have it, the fascinating history of Anubis, the god of death in ancient Egypt. From his origins as a jackal-headed god protecting tombs from grave robbers, to his transformation into the conductor of souls and the first lord of the underworld. Anubis played a crucial role in ancient Egyptian mythology and beliefs about the afterlife. His influence can still be seen today in popular culture, from movies to video games, and his legacy continues to fascinate people around the world. We hope that you learned something new, and that you were entertained along the way. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one.